Welcome to the video show of the Travel Talk. The Travel Talk is trying to make your tours to different cities in India more interesting and enjoyable by providing correct, genuine, and authentic information about the place. In this video, we are taking up the city of Jaipur. Welcome to the city of Jaipur. The city attracts maximum number of foreign tourists in India after the city of the Taj Mahal, Agra. It is so because it gives a glimpse of yesteryear's royal life. Jaipur is the city of kings, maharajas, majestic forts, lavish palaces, decorated elephants and camels, and above all, the colorful people, their beautiful dances and stories woven around puppet shows. There is hardly any tourist who does not enjoy the local delicacies, be it in the Chokidani or elsewhere. India's landscape is decorated with splendid architecture, but nowhere will you find fortresses quite as magnificent as those in Rajasthan, rising imperiously from the landscape fairy tale mirages and the period movies. Rajasthan is the ancestral home of the Rajputs, warrior clans who claim to originate from the sun, moon, and fire, and who controlled this part of India for more than 1000 years. While they forced marriages of convenience, their pride and independence were always paramount, and the lack of unity among them led to the Rajputs becoming vassals of Mughal Empire. Rana Pratap of Chittorgarh was the only exception who never accepted the subjugation of Mughals. Mughal rule of Rajasthan was marked by rebellion, uprisings, and tragedy, as women committed jawhar rather than submit to the Mughals. Nevertheless, as the Mughal Empire declined, the Rajputs clawed back their independence and signed treaties with the British, allowing individual Rajput kingdoms to operate as independent princely states under the umbrella of British rule. At the time of independence, Rajasthan's many Maharajas were allowed to keep their titles and property holdings and were paid an annual stipend commensurate with their status to secure their participation in the Union. That is how the royal flavor continues in the city of Jaipur. The most attractive historical city, Jaipur, also known as the Pink City or the Gulabi Nagar. It is gateway to India's most flamboyant state. The city was founded by King Amir Maharaja Jai Singh II in 1726. Jaipur is famous for its rich building tradition, Saras culture, and historical significance. The city is identified by its palaces and old houses. The then Maharaja Savai Ram Singh decorated the whole city with pink color to welcome the Queen Elizabeth and Prince of Wales in 1878. The city has been named Pink City since then, and an attractive architecture of beautiful buildings, the Jal Mahal, Jantar Mantar, Amer Fort, Nahargarh Fort, Jagger Fort, Hawa Mahal, City Palace, and Sanghiti Temple. Jaipur has been given the status of World Heritage City in July 2019. The city is also home to the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Amer Fort, and Jantar Mantar. The construction of the city began in 1726 and took 4 years to complete the major roads, offices, and palaces. According to the history of Jaipur in history books, it was the first fully planned city in the country. During the British rule, it was ruled by Rajput rulers of the Kachwa community of Gwalior. About places of tourist interest, Jaipur is a major tourist destination in India, forming a part of the Golden Triangle. Visitor attractions include the Amer Fort. Amer Fort, also known as the Amber Fort, is a hill fort located on a high hill in the Amber region of Jaipur. It is the main tourist attraction of Jaipur city, situated at around 11 kilometers towards Delhi. The town of Amer was originally inhabited by the local Minas, which was later ruled by Man Singh I, the Rajput commander of Akbar's army. He started building this fort in 1592 and was completed by Jai Singh. Made of red sandstone and marble, this charming and grand fort is built on four levels of the hill, each of which has huge courtyards. It is spread in 7 square kilometers area. It consists of Diwane Am, Diwane Khas, 27 Kachehri, Sheesh Mahal, and Sukh Niwas. Palace of Mansingh I. This fort and the palace inside are known for its artistic Hindu architectural style components. This magnificent fort comprises an extensive palace complex built from pale yellow and pink sandstone and white marble and is divided into four main sections, each with its own courtyard. Filled with huge ramparts of the fort, chains of gates, and stone paths, the fort overlooks the Mavta Lake just below the hill. The cool atmosphere created artificially by the water currents in the Sukh Niwas is pleasant even during the scorching summer season. A temple dedicated to Shila Devi, the goddess of the Chaitanya Path, is built near the main entrance of the palace within the fort. In the 34th session of World Heritage Committee in 2013, the city was declared as World Heritage Site. The Jagger Fort. Jagger Fort is situated on the hill called Chil Katila or the Hill of Eagles of the Aravalli Range. It overlooks the Amer Fort and the Mauta Lake near Amer in Jaipur. This fort was built by Jai Singh II in 1726 to protect the Amer Fort and was named after him. The fort, rugged and similar in its structural design to the Amer Fort, is also known as Victory Fort. It has a length of 3 kilometers along the north-south direction and a width of 1 kilometer. The fort features cannon named Jaiwan, which was manufactured in the fort itself and was then world's largest cannon on wheels. Jagger Fort and Amer Fort are connected by subterranean passages and considered as one complex. What is known in the present day of Jagger Fort was actually the main defensive structure rather than the palace itself. During the reign of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan, Jagger Fort became one of the world's most efficient cannon foundries, mainly due to the abundance of iron ore mines in the vicinity of the fort and an highly efficient process of molding to make longest cannons of the time. The fort is highly fortified with thick walls of red sandstone, has an impressive square garden of 50 meters within it. Ramparts in each corner are sloping and provide access to the upper level structures. The palaces have courtrooms and halls with screened windows. A central watchtower on a raised ground provides excellent vistas of the surrounding landscape. There are two temples within the fort precincts. One is Ram Harihar temple of the 10th century and the other one is Kal Bhairav temple of the 12th century vintage. About the Nahargarh fort. Nahargarh fort stands on the edge of Aravalli hills overlooking the city of Jaipur. Along the Amer fort and Jagger fort, Nahargarh a strong defense ring of the city. The fort was originally named Sudarshangarh, but it became known as Nahargarh, which means abode of tigers. The popular belief is that Nahar here stands for Nahar Singh Bhumia, whose spirit haunted the place and obstructed the construction of the fort. Nahar's spirit was pacified by building a temple in his memory within the fort, which thus became known by his name. Built mainly in 1734 by Maharaja Savai Jai Singh, the king of Jaipur, the fort was constructed as a palace of retreat on the summit of the ridge above the city. Walls extended over the surrounding hills, forming fortifications that connected this fort to Jagger, the fort above the old capital of Amber. Though the fort never came under attack during the course of its history, it did see some historical events, notably the treaties with the Maratha forces who had a war with the 18th century. During the Indian Mutiny of 1857, the Europeans of the region, including the British resident's wife, were moved to Nahargarh Fort by the King of Jaipur Savai Ram Singh for their safety. The Madhvendra Bhavan, built by Savai Madho Singh, had suites for the queens of Jaipur, and at the head was a suite for king himself. The rooms are linked by corridors and still have some delicate frescoes. Nahargarh was also a hunting residence of Maharajas. Hawa Mahal or the Wind Palace. Hawa Mahal, built in 1799 AD, is the main evidence of Rajput architecture. This five-story building along the main street of the old city is covered in pink with semi-octagonal and refined roofed sandstone windows. The building was designed with the aim of allowing royal women to see the daily life of the city and the procession of the city. Hawa Mahal has a total of 953 windows. When the wind passes through these windows from one window to another, it feels as if the fan is moving. You will get a feeling of pure fresh air by standing in Hawa Mahal. From the main road in front of Hawa Mahal, each of its small windows has a very attractive, beautifully carved jalis, kanguras, and domes of sandstones. Considering the decoration of other monuments in the city, the color of this palace, made of red and pink sandstone, is a complete proof for the title of Pink City given to Jaipur. Its cultural and craft heritage is unique blend of Hindu Rajput craftsmen and the Mughal style. For example, the attractive work of flower leaves, domes, and huge pillars are unmatched examples of Rajput craftsmanship, while at the same time, the Mughal style of stone carvings, beautiful arches, etc., are unique examples of Mughal crafts. The Jantar Mantar. The Jantar Mantar of Jaipur is an astronomical observatory built by Savai Jai Singh between 1726 and 1734. It is included in the UNESCO's World Heritage List. There are 14 major instruments in this observatory which are helpful in measuring time, predicting eclipses, knowing the speed and position of the stars, knowing the problems of planets in the solar system, etc. Looking at these instruments shows that the people of India had such deep knowledge of complex concepts of mathematics and astronomy that they could form these concepts into an educational observatory so that anyone could know them and enjoy them. Jantar Mantar is an amazing medieval achievement associated with the old palace Chandramahal in Jaipur, famous worldwide for the analyzing and accurately predicting astrological and astronomical events through ancient astronomical instruments and complex mathematical structures. Savai Jai Singh had sent his cultural messengers to many countries of the world and asked for manuscripts of ancient and important texts of astronomy from there and preserved them in his Pothi Khana, the library, and got them translated for his study. The City Palace. The City Palace, built with mixed composition of Rajasthani and Mughal styles, is a former royal residence in the center of the old city. The carved arches, resting on brown marble columns, are embellished with floral motifs of gold and colored stones. Two marble carved elephants stand like sentinels at the entrance. Families who have served kings from generation to generation have their own residences at the back of the palace. They sometimes act as guides. The palace has a museum that has a good collection of Rajasthani costumes and weapons from the Mughals and Rajputs. It also has gilded swords of various colors and sizes, many of which are embellished with animals, carvings, and jewels, and are studded with magnificent sheaths. The palace also has an art gallery with an excellent collection of miniatures, carpets, royal decorations, and rare astronomic creations in Arabic, Persian, Latin, and Sanskrit that Savai Jaisingh too acquired to study astronomical detail. The Sanghiji Jain Temple. Sri Digambar Jain Atisay Kshetra Mandir Sanghiji is an ancient Jain temple made in red sandstone, Sanganer, about 16 kilometers from Jaipur. The idol or principal deity of this temple is Lord Rishabhnath Adinath. The first Tirthankar is supposed to be 4,000 years old. The sacred temple has seven underground floors which are kept closed due to old religious beliefs and visitors are not allowed to see them. It is said that only a Balyati ascetic Digambar Jain can enter it and he is able to bring out the idols of this underground temple for a limited period according to a predetermined plan. Other places of interest in the city are Moti Dungari, Ganesh Temple, Birla Mandir, Galtaji Govind Dev Ji Temple, and Chulgiri Jain Temple. I am sure during your stay in Jaipur, You will be visiting the famous monuments and locations in the city. The knowledge makes your visits more enjoyable and complete. In order to get complete and authentic information about a monument or some monument, you need only your phone in your hand and the active app, the Travel Talk, on it. Please open the app and get instant information about the monument, some monuments as per your location, picked up by your phone by itself on the basis of your GPS location. Enjoy listening, watching, and reading as per your choice. Happy traveling.